Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Happy Friday the 13th.
Yes, nothing but good things are going to happen today.
Well, our family's kind of weird because we always have good things happen on Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
But hopefully
Right.
the curse of Friday the 13th will be against Watchtower.
Yes.
Yes, because we've got several things we're working on this weekend. My goodness, never enough time, is there?
Appears that way.
Hope everyone's having a wonderful day. And boy, have we got some information here. And I want to thank everybody who sent me links to this information. Yep. And the source for sending me the press release on this.
Yes.
This is interesting. Now, first I want to say that I'm going to put a link down below to Mark and Cora Latham's video. Mark did a video about this back in 2014.
Yes.
So this is awesome.
14 or 13?
2014.
2014.
2014. So, like I said, I'm going to put the link down below to that video. If you get a chance, watch it. It's really good because he's bringing out some good points of what this is about. So
Yes. In fact, go ahead.
I was just going, Mark, are you a prophet?
The thing is with Watchtower's rhetoric today, the Jehovah's Witnesses are sitting in a kingdom hall and they're being indoctrinated that the Assyrians are about ready to attack. The Assyrians, the governments are coming after us.
Satan's world.
Yeah, and what you Jehovah's Witnesses have to recognize is it's not the government's going after you per se. This is what ex-members are using. See, we're bringing awareness to the government as to how you people operate, how we were taught to operate, how we were to gather information in our door-to-door work. And now this is biting you in the ass, isn't it, Watchtower?
Yeah, it really is. And, Watchtower's taught us so well. And we know the routine and we know how things work. Those of us who've been in it for a while, we know these things.
Exactly.
And guess what?
So it's not the governments per se, it's the ex-members that are
alerting the world
Yes.
to what's going on.
Yeah, that are cramming this indoctrination right back down your very throats.
Yeah, and I want to mention real quick, because this kind of goes along with it, that Jehovah's Witnesses, in fact, I've heard it through the grapevine that my own mother has said to other witnesses, why can't they just move on with their life instead of doing videos? And I just have one thing to say about that. As long as our family are shunning us, as long as Watchtower is indoctrinating them to shun the families, and as long as people are killing themselves because of being shunned, we're not going to shut up.
No,
and we choose not to move on with our lives.
Right.
Actually, we have moved on with our lives, but we choose to do this because we care about all of you. That's why we do this.
Now, let me just play a little bit on, heard through the grapevine, because we've heard through the grapevine that our fully indoctrinated, well, her sister, my sister-in-law, knows that I have long hair and a ponytail and a goatee. So apparently,
hi, Kelly.
Apparently you guys have probably seen us in some of our more recent videos, with the long hair and the ponytail. So hey, Kelly, Tommy, thanks for watching.
Do love you guys.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions about anything we put in our video?
Please feel free to ask.
Contact us. You have my phone number.
Yeah, you guys know how to get in touch with us. We'll help indoctrinate the years and years and years of bullshit that you've been indoctrinated with, because this is not the true religion.
Yeah, exactly. Now, Watchtower is in trouble again.
Yeah, what's
this
new?
time in Finland. Just last weekend we did a video about them in trouble in Sweden. Now it's Finland. Now, I happen to have a press release. I don't know if you can see that or not. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this information, links, and all of that on our website, watchtower.expose, and I'll put the link down below to that particular page that will have all of this.
You know what? It just reminded me of something that we heard, or we saw conclusively, that we did a video and we mentioned your sister, and it wasn't but a day or two after that our website had a continuous onslaught of hacking attempts, didn't it?
And that's what she does for a living.
That's what she does for a living, yes.
Interesting, huh? Okay, so this is the Court of Justice of the European Union, press release number 103/18, Luxembourg, July 10th, 2018. A religious community such as the Jehovah's Witnesses is a controller jointly with its members who engage in preaching for the processing of personal data carried out by the latter in the context of door-to-door preaching. And this is what came to the court's attention. Judgment in case C-25/17. And like I said, I'll have all this information on our website. And this is where the problem is. On September 17, 2013, the Finnish Data Protection Supervisor prohibited the Jehovah's Witness religious community from collecting or processing personal data in the course of door-to-door preaching by its members unless the requirements of Finnish legislation relating to the processing of personal data are observed. The members of the Jehovah's Witnesses community take notes in the course of their door-to-door preaching about visits to persons who are unknown to themselves or that community. And I don't have to finish reading this paragraph explaining this because we all know that what we did. And Mike has the house-to-house record.
Yep, exactly. The house-to-house record where you would put the street name on, the territory number, your personal name as the publishers, and then there's symbols that we were instructed to use, but not limited to. CA, call again, not home. B for busy, C for child, man, M for woman, W for woman, and also HBH, home but hiding.
We added that one.
See, we would actually collect this personal data so that it could be transferred into a book such as this with additional references such as...
And oh boy, if you could get a phone number.
Oh yes. So you would have the name, what literature you placed with them, what
address.
Yep, what perhaps you talked about. We were instructed to be observant as we walk up to the door, such as, well, I can see by the nicely groomed and pretty flowers you're growing that you must love flowers. There would be conversation starters.
If they had children, all of these notes were put on this record. If they mentioned a health problem, a medical condition, which is under here in this country is under the HIPAA, law that shouldn't be, on these records. So a medical condition, if they had a family member just die, anything like that, anything you talked about could be put on this record.
Which, for someone like me, it became very, very easy to, fool people into thinking you had a wonderful memory, because just before you went to the door, you would, get out your trusty little book. Yes, her name was Marie. I placed the August 1st Watchtower that talked about, the article was, is the Bible really the Word of God?
She has kids?
She has 2 kids, 11 and 14.
Her mom just died?
Yeah, she was, back in 2018, back in 1997, she was divorced and has been remarried. Her husband's name is Bob. All those little details, if you could remember them when you went back into the vehicle, were written down. So that, when you went to the door, you already were on a personal, friendly basis. And in fact, I've even encountered this a couple of times. I would, read that information that I jotted down, go to the door and say, hi, Mary, how are you doing today? How's your husband, Bob? Yeah. How are your kids enjoying the new school season? And then they come back, wow, you have a good memory. Well, that's because I have a personal interest in you.
Now, going back to this press release, this court asks essentially whether that community of Jehovah's Witnesses is required to observe the rules of EU law on the protection of personal data on the account of the fact that its members, when they carry out door-to-door preaching, may take notes, retranscribing the content of their discussions, and in particular the religious views of the person whom they have visited, which you would put that down to.
Yes.
Oh, they're an atheist, or, they're a Catholic, anything like that.
They're a Baptist, or they're a born again.
In today's judgment, the Court of Justice considers, first of all, that door-to-door preaching by members of the Jehovah's Witness community is not covered by the exceptions laid down by EU law on the protection of personal data, and that is all in bold, right there. I don't know if you can see that, but it's right there, all in bold print.
See, now, one reason why this is such a concern is because even in my experience as a regular pioneer, you would have somebody who found someone in the door-to-door work that may have just a slight interest in religious things, in the Bible, and the person that originally made contact may not know how to groom from that point forward. So someone in the congregation, such at the time myself, might be handed, since I was a regular pioneer, got handed a lot of return visits in which I could now use the information that was
So they would have hand all their information.
That I would continue the call and try to develop this into Bible studies, which I actually did. So this personal information is very much shared among the Jehovah's Witnesses.
Now, like me, I was notorious for losing my little book.
Yeah.
I was constantly losing them. My sister would find them in her car after service. So this is information on these people are not kept confidential.
And sometimes medical statements.
Yeah. So, I mean, looking back, it's like, oh my God, we were so
breaking
careless.
laws big time too.
Yeah. So back to this on the second page. The processing of personal data carried out in connection with door-to-door preaching must therefore comply with the rules of EU law on the protection of personal data. And as like we're bringing out, and as Mark brings out in his video, Jehovah's Witnesses fail sadly in this, area.
And this is also being brought to the attention of the public at large because it appears that a news media picked up the story and ran with the story.
And I'm going to put the link down below to this too. European Court of Justice rules Jehovah's Witnesses illegally gather personal data. Jehovah's Witnesses' practice of going door to door and gathering information about family ties and medical conditions has been under scrutiny since 2013. The European Court Justice has found that Jehovah's Witnesses' practice of collecting personal information as members go door to door to preach is illegal.
Illegal, Watchtower.
Illegal. So Jehovah's Witnesses, when your governing body is telling you that they're going to be in prison because just it's Satan's system arresting them, no. It's because they're doing things illegal.
Illegal activity.
And I just want to mention that, some countries are banning Jehovah's Witnesses now. It's not because of your faith, your religion. It's because you're doing things illegally. This means now that Finland, if they find these records on a witness going door to door, you can be arrested for doing something illegal.
Well, in fact, when you get done reading what you want to read here, remind me of that short clip of Brumley that we put up as to the reason why they're being banned in Russia.
Yeah. The court handed down a preliminary ruling on Tuesday at the request of Finland's Supreme Administrative Court, which petitioned the EU court for an opinion on the matter in 2017. The court found that religious organizations such as the Jehovah's Witnesses maintain a personal register when they process information gathered during their door-to-door ministry, but yet they won't keep records on the pedophile and make that available to the publishers and pass that around, will they?
Yeah. See, and here's the thing, Jehovah's Witnesses. The governments would not have clue one about your house-to-house records unless it was, if it wasn't for ex-members exposing this and bringing it to the attention of the justices in the courts and everything else. It's the ex-members that are bringing on this onslaught against your organization, not the governments. We're just making them aware of your secret practices.
Yeah, and when you click on this article, up in the upper right-hand corner, you'll have to translate the page. And like I said, it's Google Translate, so it's not always the best.
You'll have to be a little discerning in their
put it into
translating.
context type deal. So, my goodness, Watchtower in trouble in Finland now.
Yes.
Love it.
Yeah. Many of you that have been following Kim and I's channel for a while and have been subscribers for a while, you will have remembered that I presented some information regarding the two books that Professor Keyes had written regarding subliminal images, subliminal seduction, and how subliminal imagery is used in the advertising world. When I presented a lot of that information, I also presented through the use of those two books that here in the United States, the practice of putting subliminal imagery in artwork and in advertising work is illegal in the United States of America.
But no one really pursues it because how do you prove it?
Yeah, because as Professor Keyes brought out, that you're not going to find a lawyer to take something like this to court because the lawyer would have to have decades of studies proving that subliminal images affect a person's mind and it leads a person in one direction. All of us who have escaped the Watchtower Bible Tract Society, and in fact we got a few emails and several phone calls from ex-members when I held up in one of our previous videos the Paradise Lost, the Paradise Regained book, and how that picture of all those people being destroyed at Armageddon, even to this day, for those that have escaped decades ago, still remember the nightmares that picture caused. Okay? So there is evidence out there showing that this type of subliminal imagery does affect especially young people's minds, even way up into later adulthood. This is what Watchtower faced in Russia, as Brumley brought out.
During the last several years, the authorities in Russia and Jehovah's Witnesses have been on a collision course. Two trains on the same track heading towards each other. And in the minds of the Russian authorities, Jehovah's Witnesses are like an ant that's not even going to slow down that train in the least bit. And the authorities have been arrogant in disregarding the decisions handed down by the European Court of Human Rights. Probably one of the best decisions the ECHR has ever handed down was Moscow Congregation of Jehovah's Witnesses versus Russia. In that case, the ECHR completely exonerated our brothers of any wrongdoing and of the vile accusations leveled by the authorities against our brothers. But that didn't stop the authorities in Russia. They are trying a new tactic. The first step of that tactic is to refer our literature to so-called linguistic studies. This is something unknown in this country. But the concept is that a layperson could read a book, and because he's so simple-minded, he doesn't realize he's being mentally manipulated down a certain road. And then by the time he gets to the end of the book, well, his mind now has been contaminated with some extremist ideology.
Russia probably has similar laws regarding that use of that type of imagery, that type of subliminal seduction, whether it's in words or in picture form. And Russia is using those laws to go after Watchtower. But again, Jehovah's Witnesses, how did Russia even come to the conclusion that Watchtower was using such thing because the ex-members are bringing it to their attention. That's how this is all happening. You know, the government officials don't wake up one day and say, oh my God, I got a revelation from Yahweh that we're going to go after the Watchtower Bible Tract Society in fulfillment of Bible Scripture. That's not how this works, Jehovah's Witnesses. It's the ex-members that are bringing this to the attention of the governments. So when Watchtower sit here and blow smoke up your skirt telling you, oh, the Assyrians are getting ready to attack, or, you know, or you have an army of men trying to hunt you down in the middle of a field, and you have this grandiose picture of Jesus coming out of the clouds with the heavenly armies coming after you, wake up. It's not the government coming after you. It's the ex-members that are forcing the issue. And I just wish this country would do what the Russian government is doing.
What Sweden is doing,
Yeah.
what Finland is doing, what the Netherlands are doing.
Act upon the laws that are already in place.
Well, we know what's wrong in this country, and I don't want to get into a political discussion, but they can't fight themselves out of a wet paper bag. If you've seen any of these hearings going on, it's like, oh my God, they're so busy fighting amongst themselves and bashing one another and bringing up dirt on fellow congressmen and stuff.
Or
No
FBI
wonder
agents.
No wonder they can't get anything done. Like I said, they can't even fight themselves out of a wet paper bag.
Oh, the world is an empty stage, or how is it said the world is the empty stage?
No, it's going to hell in a handbasket.
Exactly.
Wow.
So, for us ex-members of Jehovah's Witnesses here in the United States, just keep doing what you're doing, because eventually, like around the world, the governments will be forced to do something. And like anything that implodes, it all has to come back to where it began. And the Watchtower Bible Tract Society began within the continent of the United States of America. And it's going to have to end there. So just keep up what you're doing, because eventually, you know, this country is going to have to stand up and do something.
Yeah, and thank you so much, everybody, for sending me, emails and your research.
Oh my God, speaking of the
And
research,
links.
holy crap.
I'm still working on February's emails, so, I appreciate everybody's patience, and like I said, we've got a lot of information coming in. We've got a lot of leaked videos coming in, so, if I can't get to emails and phone calls and stuff, in fact, during the week, I don't even take phone calls at some times because I just have so much. Plus, I can't hear the phone when I got my headphones on.
Yeah.
Listening to videos. So, anyway, I appreciate everybody's patience, but we appreciate and, welcome to all our new subscribers. And thank you to all our old subscribers who, thank you everyone who watches our videos.
Yes.
We appreciate the love and support. And we hope to keep bringing quality videos to the world.
Well, that's a matter of opinion now, isn't it?
Hey, it's all about perspective.
That's right. It's all about perspective.
Yes. So we hope you all have a wonderful weekend. And we are busy working on a couple of more videos. So hopefully we can get those done and uploaded this weekend.
Yes, and
It's going to be a busy one.
Yes, and I've completed my reading of that book that I've been reading about the Bible from a historical perspective, and I've got one last video I want to do from that book, and it's probably going to be a doozy. So you might want to stay tuned for that. In fact, I've got, 10 pages of notes already, so it might be a rather long video. I've got a lot of reading I want to do because I'm bringing in some biblical sources to confirm the hypothesis of all of this, and it's going to be interesting because it involves the Leviathan.
Yep. And I may not be there with him for the video because I have so much to do that it's hard for me to actually sit down. It's like any spare minute, it's like I got to take advantage of it.
And plus, with this particular video, I'm the one that's done a lot of the research.
I have no idea what he's going to do.
Accumulating some of this stuff, so... Anyhow, it is what it is, and I guess we'll probably see you in the next video.
Yes. Love you all. Have a wonderful weekend.
Bye.